Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Grandmaster Dhoine in the 5-minute pool on ICC. He opens with E4. Let's try a Caro-Kann C6. I have not played much at all in the past 2-3 weeks. Knight E5, the Apocalypse variation. Okay, let's see if I can remember kind of what to do against this. I'm going to play A6 just to stop any bishop B5 business. D4. Okay. Let's challenge the knight. Let's go knight c6. This variation looks odd for white, but it is tricky to handle. In fact, I did a short introduction to this because it is in one of the chessable repertoires. So c3, let's take it. Now I think I'm just going to play it like a French. I'm going to lock in my bishop, but I hope to get this knight quickly to something like c6 or g6. So let's do this. Which square is better? I don't know. I kind of like the look of g6. Blocks up the king side a bit. So we're attacking the pawn on e5. Yeah, rook e1 makes a lot of sense. See, now f2 is a bit weak, so maybe I can play bishop c5. Try to target this pawn. Okay. Looking at queen h4. Knight f4 comes to mind. Queen b6 is probably too easy to defend against. Queen h4, though, is very tempting. What's white doing against queen h4? I'm not sure, so I'm going to play it. So it's very simply hitting f2, and if queen e2, I have knight f4, attacking the queen. So g3. Okay, so now I have bishop takes h2 as a possibility, or bishop takes f2, rather. And then if king takes, take on h2. The thing is, white doesn't necessarily have to take it. Yeah, they might just be able to play king g2. So maybe that's not the greatest. Okay, I'm just going to come back, I think. Although that's a bit of a admission that queen h4 wasn't achieving much. I'm just worried if I play queen here that my queen might end up on an awkward square. Yeah, I'm going to come all the way. Let's put it on e7. I think white will play knight f3 now. So I've been sick for the past several days, and just now I'm starting to feel better. I had strep throat, had a fever, body aches, chills, extremely sore throat, the whole 9 yards, so that's always pleasant, right? Okay, let's play h6. I think I need to keep a piece out of g5. Bishop takes h6 is, bishop takes g6 rather, is possible, but I don't think white will play that. Looks like white might just try to drive my knight back to f8. This player has a pretty high rating. I played him before. Now, which way to castle? I mean, queen side looks dangerous because I'm fairly open over here, but king side is no picnic either. Can put the bishop on c6. Yeah, let's just postpone this decision for a second and maybe play around with the idea of d4. Yeah, so he sticks the knight here. That's logical. I need this knight out. I'm going to play queen c7 and look to play knight d7, try to attack the e5 pawn a bit. Queen g4. Okay, so this hits g7. Is that awkward for me to defend? Because I'm just noticing now rook g8 runs into bishop takes h6. Yeah, that's gross. Missed queen g4. That could be just a good move. I think it is just a good move. Okay, so I might have to sack this g-pawn somehow. If I castles, queen takes g7. Alright, I'm going to play rook g8. I know it allows bishop takes h6, but I didn't see what else to do. So now white might be up a pawn, and also my king safety could be in question over here, but has to be played. Honestly, white can probably just take on g7 here, because they've got h6 coming extremely quick after that, yeah. Okay, I got to do something right now, otherwise my position is just losing. Let's play this move, play around with knight takes e5 as a threat. think even here, yeah, h6 is playable. Take, rook takes, queen takes, h7 at the very end. That's busted, isn't it? Does f5 do anything for me? Probably not. Bishop f8. All right, I'm going to try bishop f8. My original plan of knight takes e5 wasn't looking too hot. Because unfortunately, even though I temporarily win material, white's h-pawn is too strong. I have a minute 16 left, too. So I'm just trying to take on g7. Somehow get some counterplay. This pawn is so strong. Okay, let's go here. Bishop h7. I don't think I could do anything about that, though. Okay, we'll send this knight in to attack the queen at least. Just see where the queen goes. Probably back to g4, I imagine. Maybe then at least I can play queen takes e5. With some outside chance of counterplay. Oh, by the way, I have a standing desk now. Wow, he takes this way. Okay. That's why the angle looks different. I probably should have addressed this immediately. Because I know you're just burning to know. Rook e3. Okay. Got to go after e5. I need to eliminate one of these pawns at least. Can't tolerate the position otherwise. Taking on c6 looks pretty timely now for white. Unfortunately for me. Okay, let's take my poor rook on g8. I need to come back so rook h8 doesn't kill me. Okay, let's go here. I know he can take on e4, but just didn't really see what else to do there. I'm going to try to hide my king. If rook takes e4 is played, at least I have... but he has the capture on d8. Guess I got to go here. I want to play queen c6, but he had queen takes d8, check and reply. Alright, got to play for some counterplay with these checks and such. This king is so safe, though. Any chance of a perpetual? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, this move does nothing, but... Oh, it also loses my queen. Okay, let's resign this. Well played by my opponent. So, I think I lost the initiative when I played queen h4. Outwardly, this move looked active, but I'm not convinced that it's any good. Because after g3, if I just have to retreat, I don't think the slight weakening that whites had to endure around their king is worth the tempi that queen h4 and then back to e7 entails. I really wanted to play bishop takes f2 here, but I think after king g2, I'm just losing material. Yeah, I don't see how I'm going to make that work. So I'm going to check that moment with the computer. This variation's tricky, like I said. I don't have hardly any experience with the Caro-Kann from the black side, but I know this knight e5 jump. It has some neat little tactical ideas for white involving bishop b5 check and quick attacks against f7. So a6 might be overcautious, but I really wanted to rule out bishop b5. As played, I felt like my position was okay. I mean, maybe e6 is unnecessary. I wonder if I could just play bishop f5 here. I was a little worried about something like, on bishop f5, you always have to be worried about queen b3, attacking d5 and b7. That happens a lot in d4 openings, but actually at this juncture, I'm not sure I have to be too concerned about that. So I think, as I was saying, as played after queen h4 and the queen coming back to e7, I had to play this h6 move. It just looked like an unpleasant position. White advancing on the king side in a smart way, not a way that drastically weakens their king. And that restricts my pieces. My king is a huge question mark. Queen g4 put an awkward question to my g7 pawn that I was unable to solve because I can't play rook h7 here. White has that gorgeous d3 bishop covering that square, and rook g8 allowed bishop takes h6, and I was thrashing around after this, but I don't think anything works. Even knight takes e5, my intended reply to h6, just I don't think is working tactically. So let's go ahead and see with the benefit of the engine. So knight e5, a6. I think on its own, a6 shouldn't be too bad. Granted, black can play other stuff, but this does rule out the bishop b5 resource I was mentioning. So knight c6, c3, I took on e5. Yeah, and the engine here says bishop f5. It also says e6, though, so both moves are probably acceptable. But given the choice between the two, if I know that they're both fine according to the computer, I'd rather play bishop f5. It's more harmonious. Get the bishop outside of the chain, right? So develop it this way, and then whatever white does, then play e6. Yeah, this is much better than having the bishop locked in on c8. I suppose if this, I can just play probably queen d7. Yeah, queen d7, cover this pawn. Then go about my business, e6, knight e7 to c6, etc. So e6, bishop d3, knight e7. Yep, that's fine. I was debating where to send the knight, c6 or g6. g6 blocked this light square bishop and attacked e5. Also, maybe I have some vaguely threatening stuff on the king side, so that could work out. So here, bishop c5, knight d2. So here's the moment of truth, because I wonder if my next move is just too superficial. Queen h4. It is the top move of Stockfish, queen h4. So after g3, bishop takes f2 check is possible. So before I click through that line, let's try to do something that I definitely encourage you to do, even in your Blitz games when you're analyzing them afterwards. Don't just immediately play through what the computer is suggesting. Try to anticipate what the computer is going to say. So I know that bishop takes f2 is acceptable according to the engine, but rather than having the engine just show us, let's try to figure out why. So bishop takes f2 check. I didn't like king g2. King takes f2 doesn't concern me as much because then queen takes h2 comes with check, and I think with white's open king, black should have compensation there. e5 also is weak. So bishop takes f2, king g2. What am I missing? If the queen was driven to h6, I was just really worried about white moving this knight as a discovery with the bishop on c1 pointed at the queen. So that can't be right. King g2. I mean, knight f4 check. I think white can just take it. But then the rook on e1 is hanging, and I'm double attacking it. Wow. So bishop takes f2 check. King g2, knight f4. Could that be it? Yeah, it probably is. G takes f4, bishop takes e1. And that's a good little visualization practice right there, because the g3 and the f2 pawns are not on those squares anymore for white. So the queen on h4 is leading to the rook on e1. I've got the queen-bishop battery on that short diagonal. Yeah, bishop takes e1, and if knight f3, I have queen f2 check. I think at the very least. Maybe my bishop's trapped, but it's probably playable for black. So I wonder if that's the way. Check. Yeah, because as I was saying, if this, just instinctively it feels like black should be good here. It feels like black should have enough compensation. White's king is completely open. So this, on the other hand, is what worried me, but I overlooked the strength of this move. Yeah, knight f4 check, that's nice. And if takes, I can take here. Queen protecting the bishop, so white doesn't get two minor pieces for the rook. Yeah, and if knight f3, forking these two, in addition to queen f2, I can just check on this square, right? Because white's knight is blocking the queen. Yep, that was the proper way to follow up with queen h4. So it seems like my instincts were in the right place here, that queen h4 was a decent move, but concretely I didn't follow it up in the right way. Yeah, I had to play bishop takes f2. Yeah, and as you can see, after I pull the queen back to e7, I've now given white this g3 move for free. Moreover, I don't even think my queen is that well placed on e7. Like, for instance, it stops the knight from ever retreating here. You saw I had to bring the knight back to the undesirable f8 square in the game. Knight f3, I played h6. I really didn't like playing this move, but I felt I had to cover g5, otherwise, like, bishop g5 is coming next with a gain of time. I'm trying to develop here. That bishop is just so strong. It's no wonder that at this juncture, the computer's recommending bishop b5. So trying to trade it, even at the expense of doubling and isolating black's b-pawns. I think that's a testament to how strong this bishop is on that diagonal. I mean, that bishop was strong enough where I didn't even want a castle on the king side. It just seems almost like suicide to do this. Like, a simple plan for white would be bishop back here, queen d3, h5, threaten mate on h8. Maybe I have some sort of counter argument against that, but it looks scary in the game. Yeah, maybe start with h5 just to drive my knight back here. And I did briefly look at this in the game. Queen c2, white's threatening bishop h7 checkmate. Not a checkmate you see every day. Maybe I can wiggle out of this with f6, but it doesn't look good. So bishop c6. I was in limbo here. Just not clear where I'm going to put my king. Knight d4 stops any attempt by black to play d4 and open this bishop on c6. So this is a great move. Basically, by playing knight d4, white shuts down both of my bishops. Not good. My minor pieces are just bad in general here, and I have less space. Recipe for problems. Yeah, and on queen c7, white pounces. So here I should, wow, play g5. That's radical. g5, advance on the king side. Take, knight takes, and pray that I don't get demolished. Yeah, the game is slipping away at this point. And definitely after queen c7, queen g4, I think black should be objectively lost. Just no good way to defend this pawn. So here takes. Let's just have a quick look and see if I had anything in the tactical scrum here. Yeah, h6. That's very principled and good chess by my Grandmaster opponent. And he certainly recognized that knight takes e5 was possible here, but like, this shows how strong white's position is with the h-pawn. Rook takes e5. I even get this move in. It looks flashy. Here, black is temporarily up 1 point of material, but after h7, this pawn is going to score a touchdown, and yeah, my pieces just look ridiculous. Nice pair of bishops for white, supporting the h-pawn's advance. So, with my tail in between my legs, I played my bishop back to f8, just looking to try to take on g7. I feel like the pawn on g7 at least is more manageable than the pawn on h7. There's a chance that I could win this because it's not supported by the bishop, but as you can see, the position is already +5 in white's favor, so that is essentially over. I was kind of happy to see this, though. Bishop takes e4. Looks like I'm still dead lost, but yeah, not much counterplay. Knight takes c6 was well-timed, because if I take with the pawn, then just rook takes e4, defending this guy, and my king is even more open. Weak pawns on c6, a6. So, and if I take with the queen, then I'm really not threatening much because my queen is not attacking e5 anymore. So white just brought in this other rook. Rook h8 is on the agenda. Just nothing to do for black. Down material. White's king is safe. Really, my only chance in the final position is some sort of perpetual check, but yeah, that's not going to happen, especially when you blunder your queen. So, interesting game. I think the pivotal moment of this game came pretty early, because my decision not to play bishop takes f2 set the tone for the rest of the game. I came back and white took over the initiative there, played very comfortably to win. So, my instincts were in the right place, but concretely I just didn't find the way to play against g3. That happens a lot in chess. You might kind of sense that you're following the right path, but you just don't put 2 and 2 together when it comes to executing. So, hey, it happens. Anyways, I'm glad that I'm feeling better again. These antibiotics, I'm on penicillin, which is pretty cool. I wrote on Twitter, thanks to Alexander Fleming, the guy who discovered penicillin. because it's pretty awesome that still in 2017 they can prescribe that for an illness. So I'm almost back to 100%, and hopefully I'll be making some more videos from my standing desk. I highly recommend a standing desk, by the way, especially if you're sitting for prolonged periods of time with your, usually it's an office job or something, because I was getting some tightness in my lower back, and dealing with that sort of chronic pain like every day, even though it's just a slight pain, it really influences the quality of your day. So initial impressions of standing a lot at your desk are positive for me. I've been doing this for about the past week, and I really like it. It feels much better than sitting, actually. So if you have any opinions about that, feel free to chime in the comments. All right, anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will be back again soon with another video. Bye.